Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing good. In previous tutorial, we have already discussed on the graph implementation, and now we are going to move on to the searching algorithm, how to traverse a graph. So the first one that we are going to discuss on is breadth first search, in which we traverse the graph in breadthward motion, that is layers by layers. Okay. Um, Now, before explaining it, the question might arise, right? Why we are going for breadth first search? What are the applications? So we use this search for many problem solving activities, such as for garbage collection and to find the shortest path between any node in a graph or a tree. Okay, so there are other applications also of breadth first search. First, I'll explain you with an example. So this is my graph. This is the source node. This is my first layer and then second layer. Now in breadth first search, I mentioned that we perform the algorithm layers by layer. So how we are going to traverse this particular graph is, I'm going to start from 0, then the next node, which is 1, and here I'm going to cover the first layer. So from 1 we are going to move to 2. Okay, just follow this arrow, and I'm done with this first layer, so we are going to 4. Okay, then from 4 to 5 to 6. So first we cover the first layer, then we move on to the second layer. Now I'm going to do the C++ implementation of this graph and breadth first search. In the previous tutorial, I have given this example. The same example I'm going to use. And then we will perform the breadth first search. So let me just give you a quick walkthrough of the graph implementation in C++ that we did in the previous slide. So I have just taken a variable v for the vertex, and for every vertex we have adjacent list. So for my vertex 0, adjacent list contain 1. For 1 and 2, for my vertex 2, I can see the adjacent list will contain 0 and 3. Similarly, for all the other vertices in the graph, I am using list. And then we are adding the edges using this add edge function. Okay, now let's implement the breadth first search. So I have taken this class. I'll just add one more function, that is void. I'll write pfs demo, and I'm going to pass one parameter int root. Okay, let's define this function. So how we define the function? Void, then my graph, going to call function, then my parameter. Okay, now to implement breadth first search, I'm going to take an array of type boolean, which will keep the record of visited nodes. Okay, so I'm going to name the array as visited, and the size is v, number of vertices. So initially I'm keeping it false for every vertex in the graph. For entire I less than v, I plus plus, what we are going to put? Visited I as false. Fine. Now the next step. Here I'm going to use list of type int q, and I'm going to push the root node using pushback. Okay, and now this node is visited, so visited root should be true. Visited root should be true. Let's create an iterator for the list. So list type is int iterator it. Now while my list queue is not empty, so I'm going to call the function empty, and it should be not here. I'm going to check for the vertices in the graph. Okay, so int x equal to q dot front, and print x. Fine. So x is visited. Let's pop it from the list queue. So q dot pop front. Q dot pop front. Fine. Okay. So we have if I see here, I have taken this node. I have already visited it, and I have done the pop operation also. Now the next step is to check all the neighboring nodes. Okay, so for this operation I'm going to use a for loop and my iterator it. So we have adjacent list for that, for every vertex, right? So I'm going to take my adjacent for x, the one that I have all just now popped from the list. So adjacent dot begin until I reach the end. So adjacent for x dot n. Fine. After that, yeah, it plus plus. Now for every adjacent vertex, what we are going to do, we are going to check if we have visited it or not. If we have already visited, we don't need to perform any other function. But if it is the first time we are visiting that particular node, I need to push it to the list queue. So just putting not visited x, sorry, value stored at iterator. What I'm going to do, I'm going to push it to my list queue. Okay, and one more thing, I should make it as true. Visited value stored at it is true. Fine. Okay, so now let's call the function. So ch breadth first search for vertex starting at, so if I take the example of this graph, let's start from the vertex 2 and then, so I'm going to call the function bfs demo from vertex 2. Let's run the program and see what is the outcome. Okay, so breadth first search is from 2031. Let's see, from 2 it is going to take the adjacent node, that is 0, yeah, then 3, yes. Now when it is going to 0, it is going to check the adjacent list of 0, and the one which are not visited will be pushed. So after 2 we have 0 in the list, then 3 in the list, and then 1. I hope you are comfortable with breadth first search algorithm. I'm going to provide the GitHub link also. You can check in the description section, and you can just change the graph parameters and even the vertex. So instead of 2, you can check for any other vertex also. I hope you like this video. If you want me to cover in depth, or if you want me to touch on more example related to breadth first search, please put in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good time.